What is up, everybody? We are live here with a 2009 match. On the left, we have Scott playing AMU. On the right, we have Ryan playing B-Drill. This is the Luxray B-Drill deck that Steven Silvestro won the 2009 World Championship deck, affectionately known as Raybees. So, we're going to see on Scott's end, Scott is going to try to set up that Mesprit Level X. Mesprit Level X has Supreme Blast that does a 200 damage, blowing up anything in the format, as long as there's also a Yuxi Level X and an Azelf Level X in play. So Scott's goal is going to be to get all these 3 Level X Pokemon into play, so Supreme Blast will be online. Ryan, meanwhile, is looking to swarm the field with multiple B-Drill, because his main attacker's B-Drill is Band Attack, which does 30 damage times the number of B-Drill in play. So, looks like we have, I do not see who's starting off. Looks like Ryan is going to be starting off. And, let's see. So, Ryan opened Double Weedle, and he's going to be playing an immediate Rare Candy. Oh, there we go. Yep, he remembered in 2009, you were not allowed to play any trainer cards whatsoever, any supporter cards, or any stadium cards going first. So he can't get that big Rare Candy B-Drill play. But now it looks like he's going to go for an Unknown G, use Guard on the Weedle, and pass to Scott. So Scott looks like that is a Level Max in hand. So Level Max will let Scott try to flip a coin to level up immediately from the deck. So this breaks the level up rules. For those who didn't play in this format, you can only level up a Pokemon that has been in play for at least a turn, and this is an evolution, so Broken Time Space doesn't play around that. And also, you can only level up your active Pokemon. Level Max is a trainer card that allows you to break both those rules with the flip of a coin. So it looks like Scott flipped heads and is searching for that Mesprit Level X to evolve their Mesprit. And there we go, turn 1 Mesprit Level X with an energy in play, threatening the turn 2 Supreme Blast if Scott can also get the Yuxi and the Azelf going. And looks like Ryan forgot to put out prizes. There we go. And it'll be fine. We saw nothing here. Okay, so let's see what else Scott has. We see a Psychic Energy. That's not going to get very far. That's a lot of Psychic Energy. The deck only runs, I think, like 7 Psychics. So that's not a very good opening. Oh, and Scott has to pass. Yeah, that is not a good start. And now Ryan might be able just to pop off. We saw that he has at least 1 B-Drill in hand, and if he can get Swarm of B-Drill going, he can easily hit for 90 damage and just take that Mesprit out and win the game. So let's hope that Scott gets another turn out of this. We see a BB Search coming down. It's going to let him trade any card from his hand for a Pokemon from his deck. So I think he put a Lightning Energy in there, but I was not sure. He was pretty quick about it. But now he's going to search. Depending on his hand, we might see him get a B-Drill. Oh, he has the Lightning Energy still, but you might see him get a B-Drill. The Flutter Wings B-Drill will be good because that lets him search out additional Pokemon. Or he might go try to get his Claydol line going. So let's see what he goes for, and we'll know what he has in his hand, but what he grabs. Also, if he doesn't have a good hand, he could go for that Chatot from Majestic Dawn, which for free will let him use Mimic, and it's a 0 energy attack. Shuffles his hand into his deck, draws the same number of cards that Scott has in their hand, and he does go for the Chatot. So it looks like he doesn't have a huge strong hand right now either. So this gives Scott some time to draw out of it. So now we see Scott fanning back the Mesprit Level X. This is the upper material Mesprit, whose Pokebody gives all Mesprit, Azelf, and Yuxi free retreat as long as there is a Mesprit and Azelf in play, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It's been a little bit since I used that ability, but something to that effect, giving free retreat. And we see, what's happening there? Oh, okay, evolved into the B-Drill that has free retreat, attached a Lightning to the Weedle, and then just went for Chatot and did a Mimic for, I believe, 6. So he's going to draw a fresh hand. Scott's going to have a chance to draw out of this. Now the problem with the AMU deck is that its major source of draw is Yuxi from Legends Awakening, which has a setup power. So when you play Yuxi and use setup, you get to draw till you have 7 in your hand. The problem is Scott's got kind of a hand that's clogged with a lot of cards they can't play. So if Scott gets a Yuxi, it might not get a lot of cards. It looks like we just see the attack from Mesprit. I do not recall what that attack is. But just an attack for 30. And then Ryan's going to have another chance to steal the game with a B-Drill. So Ryan goes and plays a Roseanne's Research, accidentally putting the card directly into the discard pile. Remember, in this format, all supported cards stay in play until the end of the turn, but that's fine. Just a little slip, and Ryan's going to go search out a couple more Pokemon. Looks like Ryan is eyeing the Baltoy, so Ryan's going to try to get that Claydol set up. Claydol is the main draw engine of this format. Its Cosmic Power lets you put up to 2 cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck, and then you draw until you have 6 in hand. So it's just a very powerful draw effect, much more powerful than Standard's Octillery. And so we have a Baltoy and a Grass Energy. So, we could see either a Rare Candy Claydol or a Broken Time Space Claydol. He does have the Claydol in hand, so does he have a way to put it into play, or is he going to be waiting another turn? Let's see. So, putting the Roseanne into play from the discard, switching to Weedle, and using Weedle's attack to search for another Pokemon. So, still not able to steal the game yet, giving Scott another turn to draw out of this. So, he calls for another Weedle, gets that onto the bench. So setting up a potentially very explosive next turn, because that Claydol is going to come down. He's going to be drawing a bunch of cards. He could get the Flutter Wings Beedrill into play, search out a third Beedrill. So we could have a lot happening from Ryan next turn. Now Scott draws a Looker's Investigation. Looker lets you look at your opponent's hand, and then you choose either to have you or your opponent shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 5 cards. So Scott's obviously going to choose to do the effect on their own hand. So this is going to give Scott a chance to start drawing some cards to get set up. So a great card to draw here would be a Uxie, just to start filling up the hand to 7. So Scott is behind here, but the game is definitely not over. So let's see what Scott gets off this Looker. So, Scott is looking to get ideally a Uxie and an Azelf into play, so that Mesprit is threatening an attack next turn. Now, theoretically, Scott could actually start attacking this turn with a Uxie, Azelf, and double level max heads. That's not super likely though, so we'll see how that unfolds. Looks like there's some supporters and energy in that hand. That might not be a very viable hand. There's a switch. I saw a BB Search, a Psychic Energy. So this is not looking great. Are we going to see another Teleportation Burst for another 30? That would be well, we have another Psychic coming down. That's a questionable play. Supreme Blast does 200 damage, but you have to discard all energy attached to Mesprit, not just the 2 energy you use to pay for the cost, but all the energy in play on it. So you can't actually stack up a Mesprit ahead of time with additional energy. You got to set it up new every single time. So Scott passes. Ryan drops the Broken Time Space, drops the Claydol, and so we're going to see a Cosmic Power. We might see another Beedrill come into play, and if that Flutter Wings Beedrill comes into play, the game will probably not last much longer from here, unfortunately. So we see Ryan does Cosmic Power, puts 2 on the bottom of his deck, and draws 4 cards, I believe. And 5 cards. We see another Rare Candy. So does he have the Beedrill? He has the Beedrill. That would be really big. And this deck also runs a full 4 Weedle, 4 Kakuna, and 4 Beedrill. So the Broken Time Space with some Kakuna will also put in a lot of work. So let's see if Ryan has enough to actually try to end the game. We see the Energy Gain and the SP Radar. So Steven Silvestro's big innovation in Beedrill in 2009 was squeezing in a little mini SP engine with a Crobat and a Luxray level X. And the reason this whole play works is because the Luxray lets you Bright Look and drag up Pokemon from your opponent's bench. So even if you don't have a full bench of Beedrill, so Band Attack can hit for the maximum 120 damage, Luxray can let you pick off weaker Pokemon off the bench to take easy prizes that way. So this deck really kind of was based on just the rush for 6 prizes, however you can game plan, and that became a big trend in the 2010 season. So in a lot of ways, Silvestro was a trailblazer in that regard. So we see the Luxray coming down, threatening that Bright Look, but right now Scott has nothing to Bright Look. But then he drops the Energy Gain, which will allow Luxray to attack for 1 colorless less. So we could see a potential Trash Bolt next turn, but Trash Bolt alone will not KO this Mesprit. So if he has, it looks like he's just going to go for another Mimic. So Scott just keeps getting turns to survive. So Mimic happening, going to draw, it looks like a new hand of 4, because Scott drew 5 and then played an energy down. And then let's see if Scott can get anything else going. Now, I believe Scott had that BB search, so probably see BB search grabbing a Yuxi and refilling the hand from there. And we draw, we have another, is that a level max or a premier ball? It looks like another level max. That's good. So that'll be nice. That'll allow Scott a chance to flip. Now Scott's almost certainly going to grab the Yuxi. That'll allow Scott a chance to flip and get the Yuxi level X as well. And if Scott gets the Yuxi level X, Scott gains access to trade-off, which lets him look at the top 2 cards of the deck and choose one of them and put it into their hand, other going to the bottom of the deck. So we're going to start with the Yuxi, and we're probably going to see an immediate setup for, I believe, 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. So Scott draws into the Snow Point Temple Stadium card, which gives all basic Pokemon plus 20 HP, which will get them a little more staying power. Bumping the Broken Time Space, so slowing Ryan down unless he finds a counter. There are only 2 copies of Broken Time Space in the Beedrill deck. The deck relies a lot on rare candy to get going. So Scott does setup. Scott plays down a Mesprit and then uses Psychic Bind, which shuts off Ryan's Poke Powers for the next turn. So Ryan will not be able to use Play Doh, which means Ryan will probably not be able to put in a lot more pressure. So Scott is looking at some other things. I believe Scott does have another level max that might come down and is attaching energy to the Yuxi, probably to threaten Zenblade off Yuxi level X. Zenblade for 2 colorless is a flat 60, which is enough to take out some of the lower HP Pokemon that Ryan has in play. But looks like that is it, and Scott is going to go with a teleportation burst and knock out the active Chatot. Now the attack has an optional effect to switch your Mesprit to the bench. Scott is opting to not use that effect, leaving the Mesprit at risk, but banking on Ryan not being able to get that big band attack and take out the Mesprit. Without Poke Powers, it's probably a reasonable bet to make. So Ryan is looking and is dropping energy on a Weedle. And let's see what comes down. It looks like a Roseanne's Research is going to happen. Accidentally falls in the discard pile again. That's fine. We'll figure that out. And probably going to go... Oh, there we go. Good job, Ryan. And it looks like he's going to grab... Let's see. Money's on potentially another Weedle. Maybe... I don't see any relevant math with going for the Crobat G, which lets you put a damage counter on a Pokemon in place. So... maybe an energy card. The deck only runs a handful of energy. I believe it runs 6 energy. It runs some grass, it runs 3 grass, 2 multis, and a lightning. So it looks like a Weedle and an Azelf. So grabbing the Azelf suggests that he has something important prized. Azelf has the Time Walk Poke Power, which lets you look at your prizes, grab a Pokemon you find there, and trade it for a card in your hand. So it's a great way in this format to avoid the drawbacks of potentially prizing one-ofs. He's dropping an Unknown G and using Guard. Oh, no, he's dropping an Unknown G, but he cannot use Guard because of the Psychic Bind that Scott did on the previous turn. And he is going off with a band attack for just 30 damage. So Scott is going to have a chance now to retaliate with a Supreme Blast if he can get everything in play. And if he does that, that Beedrill is done for. So here comes the Yuxi. So it looks like we're going to see a level up. Yep, there is the Premier Ball. So Scott is going to probably grab that Yuxi level X and level up the active Yuxi. Yep, there's the Yuxi X. So Scott's going to have access to trade-off for the rest of the game, which is going to give them a big boost in consistency. And also Scott is going to have access to the Zenblade attack, which is not super good against this Beedrill, but can definitely be good against a lot of the bench Pokemon. There's the Yuxi X, and are we going to see an immediate trade-off? Let's see. Scott goes for a Roseanne's Research. We're going to definitely see an Azelf in here, and another Yuxi. That's smart. So we're going to probably see, depending on what Scott has prized, we might see Time Walk Azelf, or we might see Downer Material Azelf. Downer Material is not super useful in this matchup. It's a Pokebody that says if there is an Azelf, Mesprit, and there's the Downer Material Azelf. So as I was saying, if there's an Azelf, Mesprit, and Yuxi in play, all of Ryan's basic Pokemon are going to need an extra colorless to attack. So that's going to be somewhat relevant. It's going to mean those Weedle can't find any more friends. It's going to mean that Luxray that's going to offset the energy gain on the Luxray. But more importantly, it's an Azelf in play. So now Scott's going to be able to start doing all the AMU shenanigans. So we see a setup for 5 more cards, my apologies. And we're going to need to see a level max if a Supreme Blast is going to happen this turn. If not, we're going to see another attack. Energy goes down onto that Azelf. Azelf does have a decent attack. And oh, we have a switch coming in, going into the Azelf. So we are, oh, and then a Premier Ball. So Scott might grab the Azelf level X, but Scott cannot level up yet because that Azelf just came into play this turn. Again, Broken Time Space is not, leveling up is not the same as evolving, and you cannot level up under Broken Time Space. So that Azelf cannot be played right now. That is not a legal play. Let's hope they catch that. So, are they catching it, or are we just going to have to sweep this under the rug? What's happening here? So that's a trade. There's the trade-off from the Uxie level X, grabbing a card, putting the other card on the bottom of the deck. Did not see what Scott managed to grab. Oh, and we have the double Poké Drawer Plus. So Poké Drawer Plus is a unique card that existed in the Diamond and Pearl era. It's similar to Puzzle Time, where you can play 1 copy or 2 copies from your hand. If you play 1 copy, you draw a card. If you play 2 copies, you get to search your deck for any 2 cards, put them into your hand. So the fact that Scott was able to assemble the double Poké Drawer is gonna give them a big edge and help them get into this game again and start competing. Unfortunately, that illegal Azelf is still happening. So let's see if they go for the Supreme Blast. Hopefully they do not, because they are not able to do that right now. So if they don't go for the Supreme Blast and they use Azelf's attack, that attack is Bind Pulse. It does just 10 damage, but then prevents the opponent from attaching any special energy from their hand during the next turn. Ryan's deck does run a couple multi-energy, which is a special energy card, but all in all, blocking special energy isn't going to do a lot because Ryan already has the Beedrill set up. So let's see what Scott's plan is from here. Looks like Scott might be aiming to retreat, or are we just going to see... Oh, Scott attacked with Azelf level X's attack. So Azelf level X's attack does, so it's a deep balance attack. You put 1 damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. So Scott was able to drop a few energy, since Ryan has a few energy cards in play, Scott was able to drop, I believe, 3 damage counters onto that Weedle, but that Weedle only had 10 HP left, so that Weedle was knocked out. And then Ryan draws and just retaliates with a band attack for another, looks like 30 damage. So we're back to Scott now, and let's see what Scott's doing. Now Scott is going to be able to threaten that Supreme Blast, and it looks like Scott's going to go for it right now. So that Supreme Blast is going to take that Beedrill out of play. It's going to do 200 damage, but Scott is then going to lose all the energy attached to that Mesprit. So we see the Snow Point Temple coming back into play, giving that Mesprit an extra 20 HP. And then, let's see what else Scott has. Scott has the Roseanne's Research. So one thing that this deck has we haven't talked about yet is the Palkia level X. So Palkia level X has the Restructure Poké Power, which lets each player choose a card off the opponent's bench and drag it active. So we'll have to see if Scott is eyeing that Palkia. That looks like that is the Palkia, and Ryan has to read it. The Palkia doesn't have any super relevant attacks, but when it levels up, that Poké Power is going to be huge. So looks like Scott is going to try to get that Restructure going, so Scott can start dragging up bench Pokemon and picking them off. So we have the Palkia, we have an energy on another Uxie, so that Uxie might be setting up for a Psychic Restore that does 20 damage and allows you to put Uxie and all cards attached on the bottom of your deck. So that's a good way to get Uxie out of play if you have if you need to clear up bench space. But Scott goes in with that Supreme Blast, 200 damage, blows up that Beedrill, discards all energy in play, and now Ryan has to reestablish. So Ryan still does have the attacking Band Attack Beedrill, but we haven't yet seen the Flutter Wings Beedrill. That really is his deck's secondary engine after Claydol. So he's going for that. Oh, he's going for the Guard from Unknown G. So Guard allows Unknown to attach itself as a Pokemon tool, and then it makes that the Pokemon it's attached to, immune to all effects of attacks. So one of the big reasons it's in this deck is to prevent Stormfront Gengar's Shadow Room attack, which just lets you drop damage counters onto any Pokemon you want. And then Ryan is going in with the Cynthia's Feelings. So Cynthia's Feelings is a cool kind of comeback card from this format, where you shuffle your hand into your deck, and then if you have not played it, if you've not been knocked out, if one of your Pokemon was not knocked out last turn, you just draw 4 cards. But if one of your Pokemon was knocked out, you draw 8 cards. So Scott is going to have a full hand with a ton of cards. And, I'm sorry, Ryan is going to have a full hand with a ton of cards. My apologies. And a good chance of finding that big Flutterwing Speed Drill, and that deck is just going to start flying from there if he does. And it looks like he does have the Flutterwing Speed Drill in hand, and he has a rare candy as well. So that means potentially he could get a full 3 Beedrill Drill into play this turn. So we're going to see that Flutterwings come down for sure, right? Are you gonna do it? We have the Luxray coming out. That's fine. We might see a Bright Look. Yep, there's the Bright Look, targeting down the Azelf with a lot of damage. This is smart. This is going to take potentially take that Azelf out of play. And if he succeeds at doing that, then Scott's going to have to set up a whole backup Azelf level X in order to be able to Supreme Blast again. So Ryan is trying to prevent a subsequent Supreme Blast, and then he's playing the Night Maintenance. Night Maintenance it's equivalent to Super Odd. You get to grab 3 in combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards from your discard pile, shuffle them into your deck. This Beedrill deck has to keep streaming Beedrill, so it is running a full 4 Night Maintenance. I think this is the only deck I've ever seen that runs full 4 copies of that card. So he's gonna shuffle in. He's gonna drop that Flutterwing Speedrill, I'm sure. I think he has a Flutterwing Speedrill. I could have sworn I saw it. I think it's that last card in his hand right now, but he's not very eager to go for it right now for some reason. I don't know why. He must be trying to save that Beedrill for a band attack, but I'm not sure I agree with that. There we go, going in with the activating the Kakuna, rebenching the Luxray. He Poke-turned the Luxray, scooped it up into his hand, so he can reuse Luxray level X in a subsequent turn. And he's using Kakuna's attack to flip and I believe try to evolve right out of the deck. So now we know why he did not play down that Beedrill right away. Although I still wonder if it was the correct play to not go for that Beedrill. That Beedrill just lets you get a grass Pokemon in your deck every turn, and that adds up really fast. So now Scott's going to have the chance. Oh, I'm sorry, no. Kakuna does not have an evolution attack. Kakuna had an attack that poisoned that Azelf. So I'm going to be honest, I have not attacked with Kakuna very often, so I'm not the expert on its moves. That's my bad. So we see a double energy switch. So that means that Scott is going to be able to get off another Supreme Blast. Probably feels a little bit bad to knock out this 80 HP Kakuna with a 200 damage Supreme Blast, but that's fine. That Kakuna's gone. That means that Ryan's going to have to get another Weedle into play to get that Flutterwing Speedrill going. So let's see what is going to happen next. We have another Looker's Investigation. Going to get a look at Ryan's hand, and this time making Ryan shuffle. Get rid of that Beedrill. Get rid of that Luxray X, and force him to draw a new hand of 5. Now this is really strong if you compare it with a Psychic Bind from Mesprit, because then Claydol can't help you refresh your hand. But Scott has a full bench. We'll probably not be able to get a Mesprit going, so we're probably just going to see the Supreme Blast. And here it is, the Supreme Blast onto the Kakuna, and Ryan promotes Luxray, and let's see what happens from here. So, Kakuna has the Exoskeleton Pokebody, which reduces damage it takes by 20. Unfortunately, that was not able to allow it to survive the Supreme Blast, so Ryan is now left with a single B in play. So Ryan is probably going to go in with a Cosmic Power to start refreshing his hand. It looks like we do see a rare candy. Did Ryan get Luxray back? Yep, there's the Bright Look, targeting down the Palkia. So trying to just get that out of play. Doing the Cosmic Power now. He's either trying to get rid of the Palkia or trying to stall for a turn. He does need to do some recovering. He hasn't taken a single prize yet. Scott has taken 2 prizes thus far. So he does Cosmic Power, he draws into another Grass Energy, and he's holding his hand really close. there is a Cyrus's Conspiracy. So this is part of the big SP engine from this format. This allows you to search your deck for any supporter card, any basic energy card, and any Team Galactic's Invention trainer card. So we will definitely be seeing a grass energy out of him if there's one left in the deck, but I know there is one in his hand at least. I don't remember how many are discarded. Grabs the BB Search for next turn, and then we're going to see the Poke Turn. That makes sense. Poke Turn going to let him pick up that Luxray yet again, rebench it, and threaten another Bright Look. And looks like there's no basic energy left in the deck. No Grass, no Lightning, or maybe he didn't want to clog up his hand and prevent future Cosmic Powers. Either way, not grabbing an energy off the Cyrus, just grabbing the those two trainer cards. The supporter and the trainer card. And then is he gonna drop the Poke Turn? Depending on what he has in his hand, that will make a difference. He drops the energy onto the Beedrill. Now he can band attack, and there's the Poke Turn. Probably going to promote that Beedrill, has free retreat, and is the only viable attacker. He drops the Luxray again. He puts the energy gain on yet again. One day that Luxray might attack, and he band attacks for only 30 damage. So Ryan's going to have to find a way to get this fat Palkia out of the active in order to attack this Beedrill. So Scott, I am sorry. So this might buy Ryan a turn. Scott goes for the Premier Ball, and oh, that's bad for Ryan. So Ryan actually ended up helping Scott by grabbing that Palkia active, allowing Scott to level it up and putting Restructure online. So now Scott is going to be able to, if they want, restructure and target down any Pokemon that Ryan has in play and force it active. But Ryan gets to do the same thing to Scott. So Scott's got to play around that with switch effects. Or actually, no, Scott's not going to have to, because that Mesprit level X has the upper material Mesprit underneath it. So now that there is an Azelf Mesprit and Uxie in play, those Pokemon on the bench all have a free cost of 0. So this restructure is just a free Gust effect. And so Scott targets down the Claydol, trying to take Ryan's entire engine offline. Ryan grabs the Mesprit, which is not going to make a difference here. Ryan drops an energy onto the other Mesprit and is now threatening the Supreme Blast next turn. But with an energy switch, we can even have a Supreme Blast going on this turn. Does Scott have it? Searching the discard pile. What is Scott going to go for here? We have the Night Maintenance. So shuffling back 3 cards and going for all energy. That makes a lot of sense. This deck discards energy left and right. So getting energy back into the deck to put it back into play later is going to be important. Now, the deck does have one other way to accelerate energy into play. There's the Energy Pickup Trainer card. Lets you flip a coin. If heads, attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. The deck runs a full 4 copies, and we haven't seen one yet. So I wonder if Scott's going to be able to go in with an Energy Pickup and try to get some stuff going. There is the Energy Pickup. So flip, and as a Tails. We will not see a free energy off of that card. Does Scott have another one? No, just a Looker's Investigation yet again. Looking at Ryan's hand. Ryan does not have a lot going on if Scott is able to take out that Claydol. So Scott is choosing to shuffle their own hand into the deck and draw a fresh 5 cards. I don't believe we have seen the trade-off yet out of Uxie level X, so that's going to give Scott a free card once they draw their 5, and we will see where they go from here. So they're drawing, Ryan cuts, we're going to see 5 cards. There's a Mesprit, a Pokédrawer, a Level Max, an Energy Pickup, and something else. So there's the Energy Pickup. Going to try to get that Mesprit going, and that is a head. So we are going to get an attachment from the discard pile. The Supreme Blast is ready to go. That Claydol is not long for this world. So and then here comes the trade-off out of the UCX, looking at a Level Max and something else. Grabbing, we do not see, grabbing a Rainbow Energy. So the deck runs a couple of rainbows. The reason for that is that it allows Palkia to attack once in a while. It does not come up very often, but why not give yourself the option, right? You need to run primarily basic energy for the synergy with Roseanne, for the synergy with energy pickup, the energy switch and all that, but a couple cycles are good. Scott is using, Scott is relying on Ryan's hand being dead, using the upper material to free retreat the active Mesprit, promoting Uxie and using the Psychic Restore attack to put it on the bottom of the deck, freeing up a bench space, promoting the UCX, and threatening a Zen Blade knockout next turn. So this is a smart play. If this works out, Scott will be able to knock out the play at all without wasting the energy for Supreme Blast, saving that Mesprit for future use. And Ryan comes down with the BB Search. Now the problem here is that Ryan is going to have access to the Cosmic Power and potentially is grabbing a Weedle. So Ryan's going to build a Cosmic Power and dig into a deck, potentially grabbing a Warp Point to get this Claydol out of the active and forcing Scott to do another restructure play. The problem with that is if Scott restructures, Ryan can just target down the Palkia itself, which has a big retreat cost and does not have free retreat from any of the Mesprit. So Scott can retreat into the Palkia and restructure, but then Ryan can grab something like the benched Mesprit, and Scott will have used their free retreat for the turn. So here's the Cosmic Power, drawing, I believe, 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have a Luxury Ball. We have a Kakuna. We have another Rare Candy. So Luxury Ball is going to come down. I'm going to guess we have to see that Beedrill by now, right? We're going to have to see that Flutterwing at some point. And there it is. Finally, the Flutterwings Beedrill is coming into play. This will allow Ryan a free search every turn. So this gets just the whole Beedrill party swarming. So we'll see that. We'll see probably a Rare Candy in the Beedrill and another Night Maintenance. Going to shuffle in some more bees. So it looks like we're probably going to see a Weedle come back. I'm going to guess at least 1 Grass Energy. So Weedle, a Band Attack Beedrill, and there's a Lightning Energy. I didn't realize that was in the discard pile. So that's why he didn't grab it off of the Cyrus. It was not there. So he's going to be able to get that Beedrill into play, going to be able to start searching out more bees, and he might actually start threatening those big band attacks. Unfortunately, he hasn't had one all game. So, unfortunately, it looks like we're going to have to cut this game short. We are getting back to round 4 of the actual tournament. So, here, I hope you enjoyed your taste of the 2009 format. Hopefully, we will be bringing more to you during additional breaks. So, stay tuned.